Sometimes in life, you gotta pull the plug. You gotta quit before you go further down the road of exploitation. I freed myself before I gave everything that I had to this person. This was such a terrible 3 or so weeks. So in this story time, I'm gonna be talking about one of my bad experiences trying to find some work. All right, so very recently, I was looking for video editing work. I graduated college in December 2025, and I still don't have a job. Can't even get some short gigs. It's just been a very tiring process of continuously applying to places and only getting 3 or 4 calls back for opportunities that don't even pay. It's because of this why I feel like I made a mistake going for a communications degree with a film focus. People want some high quality stuff, high quality productions, but they're not really trying to pay for it, I kind of feel like people undervalue video editors, kind of look at them as not the most essential or respected thing, which has me questioning if I should have just gone for a more sure thing and then went with video editing on the side. Anyways, I don't have much client work on my resume. Most of it is just projects that I worked on for myself. So I came to the conclusion that I need to get an internship. It might be easier to get an internship, and I don't really need the money right away. I have a place to live, so I can afford to take an internship to potentially make connections, maybe lead to a paid opportunity, or just get something on my resume for the next stop. So eventually I got a call back for podcast editing, set up a meeting, and we were good. However, I should have spotted the red flag right away, or at least after the first project. This internship listed a $200 stipend per month, yet none of that was mentioned in the interview. All throughout this working relationship, this person just kept on saying buzzwords like experience and credit. You'll get experience as an editor. I'll credit you if you edit this. So yeah, you can already tell where this is headed. They're not paying a cent. The money or lack thereof wasn't a concern at the start. Just for some podcast editing, that's fine. Don't think that I wanted money for editing this podcast. If they just kept it to the podcast, we're good. We're fine. I'll edit for free, maybe a nice little 1 or 2 podcast episodes a week is very manageable. But you'll see it gets to a point where I need to get paid for this if you're asking for this much. Not gonna lie. Also, another red flag is that their channel isn't even monetized. I have more subscribers than them on one of my channels. This is not a big time podcast. It's getting a lot of views. So I'm assuming the podcast doesn't pay for itself. So where's the money coming from? Maybe they have a luxurious job and they can afford to burn $200 a month on this podcast, but most likely they can't pay me the $200 because they'd be losing money on the podcast. It doesn't really make money for itself. At that point, it would just have to be a passion project type of thing for them, which should have been an alarm bell that hey, this just doesn't make any sense, so to say. But yeah, I agreed to edit a podcast episode for this person. It was just a test podcast, so they could see what they're working with, see if they wanted to move forward with me. They also gave me some podcasts to take inspiration from, and these are professional level podcasts. So that's another red flag, considering the experience level that they recommended for this gig. They're wanting some really high quality stuff for someone that's either still in school or just freshly graduated, and they're not paying for that level of quality. I could have tried to replicate that style perfectly, but I would have to learn new editing tricks, and that would take way longer than the 2 days that I was given to complete this task. This ain't even a high budget podcast. It's a webcam podcast. So the stuff that they wanted was either impossible or limited by their equipment. Also, I just felt you're not about to get that level of quality for free. So I held back some. I still ended up taking some inspiration from the podcast that they sent me, still turning in quality projects that they said that they liked. It had a dynamic intro, sound effects, infographics. Yeah, this was more than enough for them. And it was good enough for my resume, some decent work. But yeah, I feel for the stuff that this person was wanting, there just needed to be a budget, some money, not just for me, but to upgrade their setup to actually make a professional sounding and looking podcast, I would say. Anyways, they said edit the podcast, edit out all of the which definitely wasn't easy. This person just rushes into every sentence, every question, stuttering all over the place. Is it, come on. You could probably save your editor sometimes if you were just composing your thoughts before you said something. But yeah, then along with the podcast, they wanted me to make as many shorts as possible. This all took a long time to make because I'm loading this into DaVinci Resolve and removing all of the silences, which thankfully is just a button press. That's automatic. dramatic. Then I'm watching through the podcast to remove the ums and ahs, which is manual because like they don't show up on the transcript. Then I'm generating the captions. So like I have to go through again and see if the spelling is right because like this was a very picky person. Then I had to go through a third time to identify moments that could potentially be shorts. Then I had to edit those shorts differently, independent of the podcast because the aspect ratio is different. I also gave them a free color grade, which is just like a click of a button. It wasn't asked of me, but like it made the podcast look better, you know? Like I was locked in on delivering some high quality work that'll look good. So yeah, all of this right here is like 5 or 6 hours of work, which is a lot, but like way less than if I like seriously went all out. I sent the podcast and shorts over and they said that they liked it and it aligned with the style that they're going for. Remember that they said that they liked my style. Then attached was a little complaint about their face being like zoomed in too much on the shorts, even though with their amateur setup, that's the best I could really give them without zooming out and having the top and bottom filled with black space. I informed this person of that. They asked me how they could change and we moved on. Very mature, very civil. Good communication was being had. So at this point, I have the gig and they want me to edit another podcast. This should have been another red flag. I'll give them grace in the first interview because like maybe you don't want to discuss payment to someone that like you haven't officially given the gig to yet. But now they've accepted me in. How about some money talk? But that never came. So I edited this podcast like same workflow as the other podcast, but this time with the shorts. I placed the blurred copy of the short under an overlay of the same short, unblurred, so like I can adjust the size and like not have it zoomed in so much and the top and bottom wouldn't be filled with black space. That fixes their problem, like since this person couldn't fix their camera setup or like just had unrealistic expectations, impossible expectations based on their hardware and setup. So I made 7 of those man-made shorts. Then I went to Opus Clip and generated 13 shorts. So this person's getting an edited podcast and 20 shorts, all with captions. You're getting a lot, like you're getting content for 21 days, but you want to know what I was met with? Complaints. First up for the podcast, in the beginning, they were speaking a foreign language for like 7 seconds. I didn't know what language it was. The auto captions just said like speaking foreign language, but this person didn't like it. So like they sent me the translations and I had to manually type out the translations over something so minor. And by exporting another podcast, it just takes up more time and more space on my computer, more stress on my computer. Space is finite, you know? They knew that they were going to be speaking a foreign language in this podcast. Could have given me a heads up on how to approach it, but no, you'll see that this person waits until after delivery to give specifics and like say how it should have been done. I was surprised that they cared so much over 6 seconds of captions not being there for a language that no one's gonna understand, but apparently that mattered. I guess. Then we get to the shorts, where this person had a problem with both versions. They still didn't like my man-made shorts despite me fixing the zoom issue because they didn't like that the top and bottom were filled with blurry underlay. Even though if I didn't edit it like that, they'd be looking at black space on the top and bottom. It's the only way because of the limitations of their setup. Either have it zoomed in and cover up the black space, which they complain was too much zoom, or zoom it out to what they want, but there's space to fill on the top and bottom, or they can just go with the black space. But like either way, like that's kind of what they're working with. I fixed their big problem with the last batch of shorts and they still complained. Then with the Opus clips, they said that the logo needs to be removed, but like I was using the free version. Maybe I would have been willing to put some money down on it, like if I were getting paid in return, but that's just not the case here. I just saw it as an extra, like something that I didn't really have to add, like they didn't really have to get, really, I would say. I already made 7 man-made shorts. I'll give you 13 extra, and like maybe you like them more than the ones that I made, but like you have 20 shorts right here. Like you can surely find something that you like, right? At the end of the day, I only ended up editing the foreign language because like that's all I could really fix. But yeah, this person managed to complain about a free, nicely edited podcast and 20 shorts when they said they wanted as many shorts as possible. And it gets worse. I signed up to edit a podcast, but at this point, that's over now. Like I never got another podcast assignment after that podcast that I edited. These next assignments just went beyond the scope of what was originally asked of me, which got me to contemplate quitting. So for the next assignments, I kind of hate how this person sent this because like it just created chaos, which you'll learn that this person is a chaos merchant, so unorganized. Okay, so originally what this person wanted me to work on next was a documentary. They sent over 870 assets, and right there, I checked out mentally. I knew for sure that I was not making this documentary, a whole entire production, for free. Now, I don't know when they wanted this done. Like, they seem to want things done quick, but like, I never let this person know how much time I would need because I didn't even open that project up first. Maybe an hour later, they sent me another email like, oh, no, prioritize this first. It was a video that was already edited and like, they just wanted me to play some music over it and like, they needed it within 3 days. So I got to it right away and put all of my focus on that. They gave me a song to use for inspiration, which like, I'm aware inspiration, get inspired by it, don't use it, but you just never know with this person. So I used it anyways. And if you don't like it, don't worry because I got 6 more songs. Copyright free. I sent over 7 videos to them a day before the deadline, by the way. Like, you're getting it early and you're getting a decent amount of options to choose from here. But they found a way to not like any of them. They explained that I was just supposed to take inspiration from that song, not use it, and like it has to be non-copyright. So like, that's actually fine. That's understandable why she didn't like the first one. Like, that's okay. However, I took inspiration from that song when finding the other 6 songs, but they didn't like any of them because it didn't fit their vibe. WTF. This is free. Like, find a way to like something, mate. Or give me specific songs and music that you like. That took so long, and like I was gonna have to search for another batch of songs and music all over again. It's just so demoralizing. When I followed the instructions, took inspiration, looked up the types of music that they requested, gave them multiple options just for them to not like any of them. Anyways, I was gonna get started again, but then they wanted me to pause that and continue putting together the documentary, which like I hadn't started yet because like I was busy looking for the music. I never touched that documentary, by the way. Now we get to the last straw, like Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Maybe a few days in between, they asked me for my WhatsApp for better communication, which was a big mistake that just added like even more stress because like being able to text someone instantly means more demands. So one day I got sent on a chaotic wild goose chase fetch quest that ended everything, not gonna lie. They told me to log into one of their old YouTube channels, download every video, and delete the channel. But because we're in different time zones, waking up at like different times and such, this maybe took a day extra because like I needed this person to give me verification to get inside every time. Then when I finally got inside, downloaded like 120 of these videos, I told them it's done, went to delete the channel that they were so adamant about being deleted. But right as I was about to press the button, wait, man, like 5 seconds later, and that channel would have been deleted. But yeah, for some reason, we need to delete the Instagram page before the YouTube channel. So like, I'm trying to log into the Instagram page, but I can't. So like, I need to go into their Google account and look for the passwords in the password manager, which required verification. So like, that's more having to sync up at the right time. None of these passwords worked, but then my new task was to go into this person's Gmail and download all of these specific emails, which made me abandon deleting the YouTube channel because like they said, wait, and they said that the IG page needs to be deleted before. We didn't delete the IG page, so like I didn't delete the channel. So like I had to abandon both of those to focus on the new thing. Maybe a few hours later, this person complained that the channel was still up, so I had to remind them that they stopped me from deleting it. Then when I was organizing the emails, like I organized them the best that I could into like these categories and like put them into the Dropbox. Then I sent the podcast episodes over as well, which they requested, which like I just had a feeling that I needed to hold on to those. So like I didn't delete them and kept them for something like this, even though they have a copy of both of the podcast episodes. But here's where I just had to get up out of there. Ever since they got my WhatsApp, they kind of been like, I wouldn't necessarily say spamming text, but it's like they didn't need to send like 7 or 8 texts at a time, rapid fire, like just compose it into one thought. That added to the chaos. So this person comes to me complaining about the YouTube channel not being deleted. They wanted me to organize the YouTube videos into subfolders, which wasn't originally asked of me. They complained about a podcast episode being missing when maybe that was my mistake, but like the folder that I sent over had both of them in there. They complained about the emails and like how some of the subfolders that I organized that stuff into, like some of them were supposed to be combined, not like singular subfolders, I would say. Then after the fact, they told me how the folders are supposed to be organized and labeled. And this was all in quick succession, like 7 or 8 texts at the same time. And it's like, wow, this is just too much. You're not paying anything. You're being very picky, asking for a lot, complaining at every turn, finding ways not to like things. So like I just had it. I didn't respond for like 5 hours until I could think of like a crafty way to get out of there. Crafting a situation where I had to quit rather than me deciding on my own that I wanted to quit. So that's how I got out. What was just a podcast editing gig turned into absolute chaos that I just wasn't getting paid to deal with. You heard me in the beginning when we were just talking about the podcast. I'm good with that. I agreed to that. I'll make that for free. But when everything else came, that's when it's like, you're not getting this for free. Like, this is cutting into my day, becoming way more than it was originally supposed to be. I also had to get out of there to protect my mental health and peace. Although I was holding back, I was still putting a lot of time into this. So like, it was demoralizing when they just found a way to dislike everything after seeing that they liked my editing style. And like, I put a lot of effort into the non-podcasting stuff. I gave it a good try, but at the end of the day, I'm just one guy. And it seemed like this person needed a whole team, like a few editors, a manager, stuff like that. They wanted a lot. They had very ambitious ideas, but they just weren't willing to pay for it. So like, they're not going to get exactly what they want. You have to adjust your expectations based on your budget. Let's just say I'm going to a movie. Hopefully this is a good analogy, but like, yeah, if I'm watching IMAX, I'm going to expect a premium experience because like we're paying more for it. But if I just go with the standard digital, then like, I'm not going to be expecting a premium experience. Like, it's just not able to provide that. I'm not saying that I'm the perfect editor. I'm not saying that you should just accept garbage. But I'm just saying, if you're not paying anything and you're getting this for free, maybe lower the expectations and be a bit more appreciative. And like, don't change the scope of the gig midway through. Like I promise. Like, I don't know if this is just me being, just tripping, but like, honestly, this person was kind of acting like a crybaby. I'm not going to lie. So yeah, this lasted for like 17 or 18 days, and I'm glad that I got out of there all right. Going forward, I'm going to watermark my videos. Then you'll get the unwatermarked version when you pay up. I think that's a good security blanket. And yeah, like I didn't gain the most from this experience in terms of money, in terms of like actual useful experience, but I learned some good red flags I'm going to avoid. And like, I learned that I'm putting out some good stuff that people like somewhat like. So like, I can't just give it away for free. But yeah, that's all I got for now. Stay strong, stay brutal, because above all else, it's anything to win.
I won't let you down, Bruce. I'll keep fighting. Always.